Hey there, guys. So, this may be another type of video. I don't know. We'll see whether it will be fit to upload. I've got three big, huge crystals to help me not slide completely off the screen like this. The funny thing is, I don't realize how I feel. So, maybe it's worth talking about. I don't know. Here goes. It's nice and warm out here. It's like 30 degrees centigrade. I don't know what that is in the other currency. Fairly hot. Actually a bit on the hot side to be outside. I've sat outside during the morning, part of the morning, and done some reading and done some watching of vlogs and things that were useful to me. And I keep coming back to the same question that doesn't have anything to do with the vlogs or my present day situation or any of it, really. And it is that I miss the south of France really badly. And that's what, got me teared up actually talking about that. Just thinking about talking about that got me to, almost break out in waterfalls again. The thing is, I don't really know my own emotions all that well. I have got all sorts of sensings of I'm able to sense all sorts of vibrational stuff. But this is really a completely different thing. And most people would probably be more comfortable with that side of things. And I've always sort of shoved it under the category of nostalgia, which is something I don't really take seriously because I know I tend towards nostalgia. I'm a nostalgic kind of person. And I've always felt that, or that's where I come from, is that you don't get to decide often where you live or how much of what you really care about in your life you get to keep, and so on and so forth. So you just have to be this kind of a nomad always, inside also. That's what I used to think, anyway. However, I've pulled a few cards, because that's what I tend to do for this South of France thing. And the weird thing is that I've been, most of the time that I have actually spent or lived or been on holiday in those areas were times when my mother was still alive. And those were not easy times, I tell you. Sorry for not looking at you, by the way. I want to do that, but it's a bit fuzzy. I've been overdoing it, and I need a holiday. And for some reason, I associate, or in my nostalgic mind, I link up memories of the south of France, particular areas that I've been, villages, hillsides, picking herbs with my husband or even with my mother, generally enjoying the views from the hilltops, all that. I associate all that with being on holiday, with having free time. Maybe it's the thing is, sorry, that even I need to take a sip of tea here. I may have complained quite a bit about my life with my mother and the way it was when she was still around, and she passed away in 1995, by the way, in case you're just new to this channel. It's been a quarter of a century. But there was, of course, this one element, and that's something that I actually found. I thought of that, and I noticed that a while ago, to the extent that I actually wrote an email to myself saying that it is people's reactions to you that validate your existence. Always. So also when there are negative reactions, also when she was, being very much her traumatized and difficult self, her existence validated my existence. You know? And that's what's part of this whole South of France deal for me, because I spent most of the time when we were actually both kind of happy and active in a way with her in that part of the world. So there were several villages, one of which I actually spent a part of my adolescence at, and I went to school from there. I used to take the school bus in the mornings and the evenings from the little village to the town where my school was at. And I used to have dreams even of the countryside around there. And in the dreams, the countryside wasn't actually like it is in real life. It was, maybe I've mentioned this before a while ago. I don't remember whether it was actually something I mentioned in a video or whether I was writing about it, because now I can't even keep track of my own stuff anymore. But the countryside was different in the dreams in that it was nearly always nearly completely empty of people, houses, streets and things. There were just hills and paths in my dreams. I have had the same type of dream on and off every, say, 2 or 3 years or so for as long as I can remember after my 18, 18, being 18 years old, more or less, when I left that area. I have dreams like that. I have recurring, repeating dreams on a theme. They're not exactly the same. It's not like I have repeating dreams, which is something people have as well, where you have actually sort of the same type scenario happening to you over and over. It's not like that. I have dreams in themes, and this is one type of a theme that I've revisited. And I noticed when I was, I think, writing about this little element in my, very intensely interesting tale of life here, that those dreams had a very secure feel about them. So I miss my mother, which is good because she was a good human being inside, and so was I, and she had a certain sense of things that was right, and I inherited some of it, and I think we supported each other hugely through very difficult times, and the times could have been a lot more difficult than they actually were. Only they still weren't easy, and that's how life is. It's sometimes you just have to trudge along, And for some reason, 2020 has just been the year of all years where, I don't know about you guys, but I've just about had it. I feel like I am on the edge, hanging on to my nerves by a shred, basically. And I've had it with all the emotional difficulty, all this vanished twin business that keeps popping up in my life. This stuff with our neighbors that's been going on. It's not going on anymore. It looks like everything is settled and settled down, and okay, work's been done, and they've got their fence up, and we've got a fence in between us now. And it's all, that wouldn't have been possible if we hadn't done the work and got the stuff organized and so on and so forth. So things are from a sort of a persecution mania type atmosphere where I tend to, to which I go instantly whenever I'm challenged. Things are settling down each time. And each time there's an infinitesimal little email coming up from our, the people who let these houses to us, asking us about the garden. Completely harmless, normal, regular people. They are not the Gestapo. I don't know why I think they are, but I get into a frenzy instantly of worry. They will kick me out of my house. They will take away my security, the bit that I've got. It's like I've no right to a sense of security. I don't know. Why do I do this to myself? Can you please tell me, do you see something that I don't? Because I think you do. You're probably, you can probably see things that I can't right there. And some people have been so supportive on the YouTube. You people, I just think that's so amazing. And I'm not the only one who's in, who's having a hard time with things. And I keep trying to think of things I can do to help myself, to, straighten my back. And I put on ocean waves sounds and, that type of thing, surf. And I drive myself crazy looking at images of tropical beaches and things like that. I always used to get this whenever it's nearing holiday time in the summer. There's a time where I go like clawing at the internet, look, please let me out of this house. I love this house. I love the place. I don't want to leave this. I don't want to think of moving house again, because I think it would be the 34th time or something crazy like that. You know what it's like. If you've moved quite a number of times, you know what I'm talking about. At some point or other, it's just, you disintegrate. You just become this helpless pulp of a mushy substance. You're not a person anymore. I'm not really. So maybe I'm scared of that I'm discovering more and more that I'm not a person at all. I'm just a pulpy mush of a mixture inside with all these emotions, and I have no control, and and all I can do is plaster words over the top, or maybe use words, maybe let the talking do itself, which is what I've done a few times. I haven't done it that many times. I tend to still, at some point or some level or other, I tend to I think it's a good idea to have a video about this, that, or the other subject. Actually, a thing. And then we talk about that, and I give you what I've got on that thing. And today it seems like it's just disintegrating. Everything's going to bits. I'm not having any. I don't do pills. I don't do medication. I don't do any of it. So I'm just here the way I am. And maybe there's a point to that. There's a gazillion people on the tube who show their travails, travails, turmoil, troubled lives. And sometimes that's the best thing you can watch, even to a certain extent, up to a point, right? And there's cards, and I was talking about the cards, about the South of France card. I got an Empress, a 9 of Cups, and an 8 of Wands. So that's gorgeous, right? I felt like, okay, so these cards really exemplify to me what it used to look like. The Empress is kind of an indication of my mother being there and feeling safe. Certainly, feeling safe has everything to do with the Empress for me, which is something I didn't really know. So, yeah. The thing is, the South of France has changed also in the meantime. And the last time I was there with husband was actually in 2014. So that's 6 years ago. And I know that during the summer, it's like most of Europe is like it's tourist inferno everywhere. And so we are not going to the South of France. Also because of that, because I don't like the tourist inferno. It's too many people, and I don't get to, be in the mode where I want to be. Besides, it gets really hot. It gets hotter than it is right here, right now. I enjoy the summer. I enjoy the summery weather. I love the sunshine. But at some point, you also have to be able to do something, be active. But there's a couple of places there that are really beautiful that I miss also. I'm going to tell you about this, and then I will leave off for today. There is a place where there's actually like a stream. It's not really a little river, but almost. that comes straight out of the hillside, out of the rocks, and runs downhill for a while. And there's a village at the end of the sort of a cleft in the rocks where all that's happening. And there are paper mills there. So big wheels, water wheels, turning water mills from the turning from the energy of the stream, right? And grinding up cotton rags and turning that into sheets of fancy arty paper, sometimes with dried flowers in them. Really pretty. I've bought those so quite a number of times. We used to sometimes go there, visit with my husband and my mother and her father, so the four of us, back in the days, so in the 90s, right? And the thing I remember most of all about the whole situation with the rocks and the trees, and there's like these huge sycamore trees all along the river and in the village and everywhere. And it's very touristy. It's complete tourist inferno in the summertime. But the thing I remember most is the color of the water of the river. It's insane. Think of this, but in green. So more of a peacock green type color, and it's translucent and clear. And why it has that color, I have no idea. There must be some type of mineral content in the water. That type of thing, I just go, oh my God, that's so amazing. Just let me stand there for 5 minutes and I will come back here happily and resume whatever task it is that I need to resume, right? But that's not how it goes. The only thing I can think of that would allow me to visit a color in that way would be to start up oil painting. And that's not happening anytime really soon, I think, because too hot, too sticky, no ideas, etc., etc., you know? Too many excuses. And I do actually think I have a tube of oil paint that it would be sort of that color, which is a Caribbean, actually, blue-green. That's the name of the color on the tube. And I would be challenged to replicate, to make an image of whatever kind, even a completely abstract image, that would show you that color, because, man, it's amazing. So, and of course, it used to be my birthday when we visited over there, and so everybody was on their best behavior, myself included. Yeah, those were the days. Nostalgia. It's not a bad thing. It's just that I need to introduce some newer elements into my life nowadays that allow me to be nostalgic about in the future or in the very near future, you know, something to connect with. I have lots of things that I connect with, but of course, because they are all around me, I'm not even aware that they are also very, you know, important to me and really priceless. I'm going to leave it at this. I will see, watch this back and see whether this is worth sharing at all. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. And talking about things always helps me. Anyway, thank you. See you then. Bye-bye.